Hello. Dolly, that was me. Dolly, stop. We're about to go live with Monica Allen. She is a registered nurse who recently visited Peru for an ayahuasca retreat. Cannot wait to hear more about her story, about her experience, how she prepared, why she went, all of her insights on what she learned from this experience, what she can take home with her, and how she can help us. What is she going to teach us, and what are we going to learn from her experience? Dolly got really excited when she heard me come on Facebook Live, so hopefully she'll settle down. We've got a Dolly ball here, but if you want to join our meeting, it's free. It's open to the public. It's from 4 o'clock Central Time until 4:45 p.m. today. So we're getting started here in about 12 minutes. Would love to have you join us if you're just interested in ayahuasca, interested in plant medicine, interested in psychedelics, psychedelic nursing, psychedelics in healthcare, different cultures, world travel, health. This is an awesome meeting that we're about to have. So I can't wait to hear from Monica, and you guys will have an opportunity to ask her questions and it'll be an awesome meeting. So if you have any questions about ayahuasca or for Monica, please just send a comment or a message, and I'm happy to ask her. So again, we're getting started here in about 12 minutes. Go ahead and invite your friends or just make some popcorn, and we're going to hang out with Monica for the next hour. So looking forward to what you guys have to ask, or your interest in ayahuasca and her trip to Peru. We got to get Dolly. Dolly, what are you doing? She wants to be part of the meeting. She can't handle not being the center of attention. All right, so I've got our meeting pulled up. If you want to join, it's here. I've got the link posted on my profile. It is with the ayahuasca with Monica Allen. We've got a link and there's a passcode. If it asks you for a passcode on Zoom, it's ayahuasca. But Monica will also be streaming this from her page, live streaming on Facebook. So you can watch it on Zoom or on Facebook, and feel free to leave a comment again if you want to ask any questions. So this is a great opportunity to learn more about ayahuasca from someone who just went. I think she went just like a month ago. So it's been super recent that she just got back from deep in the Amazon rainforest. Wow, it's on so many screens. I've never done Facebook Live before, I don't think, or I can't remember using Facebook Live. But hopefully, we'll do more meetings, free, open to the public meetings about plant medicine, psychedelics, in nursing practice and medicine, and just the different cultures that we've been learning about and experiencing in our travels. So, and how, even if you're not interested in taking them yourself, it's really nice to hear from people who have gone out of the country to participate in some different types of ceremonies that you may have never heard before, or maybe you're a seasoned veteran, maybe you've done 100 ayahuasca retreats, who knows? But you can always learn from other people's experiences and gain some insight based on what their story is, and how this is going to impact their life. How's this going to change their world? That's what I love most about the plant medicine. So we got 8 minutes before we get started. Monica should be online here any minute. And then we'll turn the camera over to her. Oh, we've got some new viewers. So we're just waiting here. We've got about 7 minutes before we get started with our ayahuasca with Monica Allen. She's going to be teaching us about her ayahuasca trip that she just took to Peru, how she prepared, what her experience was like, and what she learned, what's going to change in her life, and how can this impact the greater world. Oh, Monica's just joined our waiting room, so we're going to go ahead and admit her here. And once she joins us, we'll see. Hey, Monica. Let's see. You're on mute, Monica. So if you could unmute your microphone.
There we go.
Perfect. All right. So we've got several people here on uh, Facebook Live on my end. So I don't know if you.
Awesome. I can't see on the Facebook Live if anyone's on. Oh, I've got an old, I wonder if I can change this. I just looked. Can I change my text? I don't want to have to go out. We'll just leave it as is. It's fine, right?
Yes, we've got about 5 more minutes before we officially begin.
Okay.
But we've got some active viewers here who are waiting with us. So I know that we've got
Awesome.
some people who want to hear from you and hear your story, are very interested.
Awesome. How do I get it off? Is there any way that I can look at like everybody together? I don't know how to do that. Maybe I'm in the wrong view. Here we go. Multi gallery.
So on our Zoom call, it's just us. I think we're the only ones here.
Gotcha. That's why I'm okay.
I am streaming this also on my Facebook Live, and we've got several
Yay.
viewers here.
Excellent. I didn't know how to get like both cameras for Facebook Live and on the Zoom call. So I've got multiple cameras going up. It's all good though.
Hey, as long as we can hear your voice, that's the important part.
Can you hear me okay? Am I loud enough?
Yes, it sounds great on my end.
Okay, good. Excellent. I don't know. I've got a fan going in the background, so I'm hoping that doesn't play into the noise at all. Let me know if it gets like overwhelming.
So let's see. Guys on Facebook Live, if you want to join our Zoom call, you are free to do that. The link is on my profile. So if you want to go to my profile, click on the link. It's the latest post that is on my profile. And then you won't have to watch from Facebook Live. You can just jump right on the Zoom call. But it's up to you. If you want to stay on Facebook Live, I will keep it active for us. And Monica's also streaming to her followers as well. So it's up to you guys. But we got 4 more minutes here before we let Monica take it away.
And I'll say the same to my viewers on Facebook Live right now. If you want to join the Zoom call, you can go to the last post that I made on my Facebook page, and there is a link in there with the password, and you can join the Zoom call.
You look very plant medicine. Your blouse is very plant medicine.
I bought this not too long ago, and I want to make it my entire personality, so I wear it every chance I get.
And you have the plant background too. Like you have the whole vibe.
This is my plant wall that I did a couple years ago. This used to be my daughter's bedroom before she went to college and then moved out. And I saw and stole this idea off of a Facebook group that I was in. And it's just little, stained wood nailed to the wall. And we put a couple shelves up there, and I love it. It's one of my favorite things just to come and look at.
I love it. It looks very nice.
Thank you. For my Facebook viewers, we're doing a Zoom call today about talking about the ayahuasca trip that I went on last month. And we will be answering questions. I'm going to tell a little bit about my experience, and then we will have a question and answer section. And I'm glad y'all are here.
Oh, we have someone in the waiting room. I'm gonna go ahead and admit
All
Julie.
right.
Hi, Julie. Welcome, Julie. Thanks for joining us. If you
That's my
have any
mother.
questions, just who is this? You know this
This is
person?
my mother.
Oh, your mother's here.
Yes,
Hello,
I'm so
Julie.
excited.
That's oh, Sherry is here. All right, we've got friends coming.
Excellent.
Very good.
Excellent.
If you guys have any questions, just please there's an area in Zoom that you can type questions. So you feel free to type questions and we will try to save in-depth questions for the end of a Q&A session. Welcome, Julie. Oh, welcome, Amy. We've got Amy, Sherry, Julie, and we've got a few people on Facebook Live as well. So that's awesome.
Excellent. Welcome, everybody. I'm excited to see y'all.
Oh, Amy says hello with hearts. So
Thanks.
sweet.
I'm so glad to see you here.
All right. We got 1 more minute. If people
All
keep
right.
joining, we'll let them in. Um,
Okay.
it's been such a nice weather today outside.
I know Facebook can't see, but we have Taylor Hayes, who is a relatively new friend of mine that I met at the Mushroom Festival last year in October. And she has been doing a lot of advocacy for psychedelic plant medicines. And I begged her to join the fight. And so here we are.
You didn't have to beg. It didn't take much convincing. All right, so it's 4 o'clock now. Let's go ahead and this is my friend Monica. We've met in person a few times and we became friends. We obviously have similar interests. She's also a nurse. She has an extensive background in nursing. She has taken care of so many people and her stories are just amazing of the way how much she cares about people and loves doing the right thing. She has a heart for plant medicine and holistic wellness practices. And she's just like on this whole rampage of turning the world upside down to make it the way that it should be, the best way possible, best practices, and incorporating more of the natural world in healing practices. So I'm so happy that she has agreed to be part of the International Association of Psychedelic Nursing and to represent us well and to bring her story to our meeting today. So I'm going to just be quiet and give it over to Miss Monica. She's going to take it away. And if you guys have any questions, then please type them in the chat box and we are happy to go into a Q&A discussion at the end. All right, go ahead, Miss Monica. Thank you.
Hey, y'all. So, I just want to introduce myself for anyone who is not real familiar with my story. I have been a nurse for the last 20 years. It has suited me really well. I started in critical care for many, many years, and then I went to hospice, home health, and then to the insurance world with case management for both Medicare and Medicaid patients at first, and then most recently in the workers' comp world. So I've had a lot of very stressful positions over the years, and one who doesn't like to really lean on a whole lot of other people, I have bottled a lot of emotions over the years, which has really contributed to my getting to where I'm at right now, honestly. My story begins not too long ago, where I about 10 years ago, I was diagnosed with many psychiatric illnesses, bipolar depression, anxiety, to name a few. And I was quickly put on some antidepressants and antipsychotic medications for the next 10 years. When I wasn't getting any better and I was continuing to have problems, and then also began having physical symptoms and ailments that there were no answers for. I around that time I had also found out about psychedelic medications and medicines, plant medicines that were incredibly beneficial in treating emotional distresses, depression, PTSD, but also were having major benefits in the world of Alzheimer's and other dementia patients. And that really piqued my interest. And I started studying everything I could get my hands on about psilocybin mushrooms and other psychedelics. And I took that to my doctor, my psychiatrist, one day and asked her to help me wean off of all of my antidepressants and antipsychotic medications, benzodiazepines. I asked all of those to be weaned. This doctor wasn't very, very happy about that and recklessly weaned me off of all the medications, put me into multiple crises to the point where I couldn't advocate for myself any longer. And I had to ask Rob to go to the doctor with me to ensure that I was able to I had someone to advocate for me. At that appointment, I was upset. I was in crisis, so rightfully so, I was upset. And I was crying, and that doctor looked right at me like she did hundreds of other times over the last 10 to 12 years prior to that, and asked me, Monica, do you need to go and be admitted to the hospital? And I was very glad that my husband was with me that day because it was the first time that I could openly talk about that. I never talked about it before because who was going to believe me? Um, that this doctor was, in my opinion, threatening to send me to an inpatient hospital because of my depression, because she couldn't fix me. Anyways, that went on for a long time and she wouldn't help. So we ended that relationship with the full support of my husband. Um, and I started pursuing psychedelic medications and other plant medicines to wean off of the antidepressants and other antipsychotic meds. Along with that, I was able to come off of all of my medicines, and it was a very, very long journey. It was very difficult, but I was able to come off of everything, which was really amazing. But I started to realize that my job was a major contributor to my physical health, mental health also, but also my physical health. I was going to work every day and literally killing myself with stress and high cortisol levels. I was having physical ailments and pain to where most days of the week I couldn't even get out of bed to do my job, let alone, go to appointments and travel all over um, the Gulf Coast. So I decided that I was going to focus on my health fully. I'd already come off of all the antidepressants, and I needed to alleviate some of the stresses that were causing me to take baby steps backwards. So I decided to leave the profession of nursing. In the traditional sense that I'm in it now. I am open to maybe continuing a more holistic approach, with nursing being still part of that focus. But when it comes to traditional Western medicine, they are not there to fix you. They are only there to put band-aids on you. And I asked countless times and countless doctors to help me find a root cause of all my symptoms, and not a single one of them were interested. Until December, this last December, I found a a functional medicine doctor out of Colorado who was able to provide a lot of insight and help me kind of find some of the root causes. He was also incredibly supportive in my wishes to not take on any pharmaceuticals and only use natural plant medicines to alleviate problems. So I started to work with him on that. My pain symptoms started to go away. I had pain in all my joints. It started to go away. It's not completely gone, but it's greatly improved. And I've also had a rash on my arm for the last 2.5 years that has been very painful, burning, that no one wanted to help me find a resolution to. So, anyways, fast forward, I decided to leave my current job and to pursue taking care of myself. And because I had weaned off of all the medications that you couldn't be on in order to try the ayahuasca, I decided that now it was now or never. I was taking a break and changing careers, and I wasn't going to have very many other opportunities in which I had the time, the money, and really the desire to put myself through. What I did, it was not bad or anything, but I had a very difficult experience, and it was amazing. And we're going to go into that, but it was very hard. It was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. So, let me catch up to my notes here. Preparing for the ayahuasca retreat was very extensive. I didn't realize how extensive it was going to be. Not only do you have to be off of all medications for prescription and over the counter, but there's no creams, like Benadryl cream that I was using on my arm. That was a no-go. You couldn't use anything like that because it gets into the bloodstream. So I had to, in addition to being off of all the antidepressants and everything, which I was pretty stable at this point for the most part. But I was having a lot of relapses with pain and the rash that I was having a very difficult time getting under control. So I was diligent, though. I was prepared. I mentally prepared that I knew I was going to go through a lot of pain coming off of all Tylenol and NSAIDs. I knew the Benadryl no longer on my arm, or the steroids that I would get occasionally. They were not going to, I had to use true holistic measures. So it was ice and heat. It was some arnica lotion at the most. That was the most type of, which arnica, for those who don't know, is a plant medicine that is used for decreasing inflammation. And it helped a lot with the pain and burning that I was having on my arm. So anyways, that was a big challenge coming off of all of those. There was several times leading, even only days before the trip, where I thought I was going to have to cancel and not continue on because I was really suffering a lot. However, with the research that I had done and the personal accounts that I had heard, I had never spoken to a person who regretted their ayahuasca experience. And most had transformative experiences, things that were completely life-changing to them. So I continued on, and I went for it. I traveled down to Peru by myself. It was a very scary experience. I worked for weeks in preparation for it. There was a lot of diet changes that I had to make. I had already done a lot of changes in my diet, working on healing my body, but this was new level. There was no pork, no red meat, no processed food whatsoever, no cheese, no milk, not a bit of cream for your coffee, not anything more than cumin and some basil for seasoning. It was very difficult. And I did very well, considering I occasionally would put some salt and pepper on my eggs, and I am definitely guilty of that. But for the most part, I followed the diet very strictly. There were more things on the diet besides just the medications and the food that we put into our bodies. The diet also included mentally and spiritually. They encouraged meditation, mindfulness practices, working on shadow work. They wanted you to decrease social media influences and watching anything like that. And it went down as far as, staying away from the negative people, no sex, no masturbation, no nothing. It was everything to really clear your body and allow it to be open to the medicine, is my understanding. So I got down to Peru and I traveled by car for 2 hours to a little port and then got in a boat. And then we drove up the river, one of the subsidiaries of the Amazon, to a retreat center that was absolutely beautiful. But there were very few amenities with this retreat center. Really, the only amenity that we had was some internet in the lodge area, which I was really grateful for. But it was cold showers, 3 hours of, or excuse me, 4 hours of power a day. All the meals and everything were made for us, which was wonderful. But it was off grid, and I did that intentionally. Besides, if you're going to go to Peru, why not go to the middle of the jungle? But also, it I wanted the authenticity of the medicine to come from the shamans who live and practice in the communities, rather than having shamans, leave their areas and go to Costa Rica to a large facility that has 60 to 100 people in a ceremony. That was not what I wanted. I wanted to heal myself. I wasn't going for a psychedelic experience. I was going to heal my body and my mind. So that's what I chose to do. And I was trying to really disconnect from social media a lot, which y'all know that that's nearly impossible for me. I stayed very connected. However, that became very important to me because I learned some really important things by speaking and telling my story on Facebook and allowing those of you on Facebook to be a part of my experience. I was really fearful at first what people were going to think. So many people don't have very much education on psychotropics. We've all been told that they're terrible, and we've been fighting the war on drugs for, since before I was born. And it's it's just really been given a very negative connotation. And the communities that I am involved in, a lot of them are not open to those conversations. So I thought. As I started telling my story, I started getting a lot of questions and DMs, and was able to open up a lot more. And it allowed me to feel free to open up more and tell more of my story and my experience. And as I did, I stopped crying about the experiences. I started to be able to watch and read the information that I was putting out there. And instead of watching the same video that I made over 100 times and crying about it over and over, I got to put a smile on my face. And so that was very much a part of this healing experience. Going into the medicine, it was very authentic. My understanding with the ceremonies, it was I didn't know what to expect going into it. We would walk to the Maloka, which was a big circular building with screens all over it to keep the bugs out. And there was a mat and a pillow and a blanket. and a purge bowl and some water and toilet paper. And we all sat in a circle. They burned holy wood, Palo Santo, in the middle of the room. And as that turned to embers, they then cleansed the room and all the people in it, and paid special attention to doors. Um, the other thing that they did was the shamans would smoke mapacho, which is pure jungo tobacco. And that is to use for protection and to prevent negative energies and spirits from attaching. And so that was very interesting. It wasn't anything that I'd really experienced before, and it was very routine for them. It wasn't a show, and not that I was expecting a show. I don't know why I even say that, but it was very ceremonial. It was very sacred to those that were in the ceremony area. So it was a small group. Our group ranged from, at one time, one of the ceremonies, it was just me with my guide and one shaman. That was a great experience. But the other ceremonies had, I think, between five and six other participants besides the guide and the shamans. The larger groups that had five or six participants, there was always two shamans in those ceremonies in addition to the guide. My guide was there to do all the translating and help with, if you had to get up and use the bathroom or anything like that, they would be there to help with that and also with communication. Um, my first ceremony, I did not have initially, with the small amount of medicine that I was given, I did not have a any I didn't have any effects from the medicine at all. So I was given a second dose. And at that point, I started having pretty quick, like some purging feelings. Purging was the biggest aspect of taking the medicine for me. I had a very violent purge. I had a lot of, besides the normal vomiting and crying and sweating, I had a lot of body wrenching, and I felt like I was having negative energies forced out of my body. The My body would be thrust forward and it was uncontrollable. And I felt like the air was being pushed from the lowest depths of my soul and up and out of my body. And it was really kind of scary, and my body fought it the entire time until the very, very end. And I don't know if it was, I was talking myself through it, but really I just gave into the medicine and did everything I could to help push that negative energy out of my body. But it was so hard because the natural reaction of the body was to curl up and to fight against it. I had to remind myself over and over that the medicine was working on the cellular level and getting rid of everything that I didn't need in my body. Some of my experiences, I had multiple ceremonies. I was supposed to have 7 ayahuasca ceremonies. I only participated in 4 because of the intense purging. My body wouldn't allow me to do any more than that. And 4 was enough. Um, I had some definite improvements in physical and mental symptoms following the very first ceremony. And one of the most interesting things is that I want to talk about. There's 2 very interesting things I want to talk about. And I know we don't have a whole lot of time, but one of them was the visions that I had. The visions I had were very nonsensical. They would be far away and it would get closer and get larger, and it would become more in my visual field, and I was able to see it better. But as those visions were far away, it would look like a normal face. And as it got closer, it would change to like a scary clown or demonic face. And that was very similar to other experiences with psychedelic medicines that I've had in the past. And I never really understood it. And I just always thought, oh, you've just got something in the back of your mind playing that for you. But when I did the integration the following day with the shamans there, they had said that as the energy centers in the body, as those blockages are released, that the visions will make more sense. They will be nice, not, they didn't say nicer, but they would be more sensical. There would be more messages from them. But the biggest thing I noticed is on that second and third and fourth ceremonies that the visions were no longer scary. So those faces would get closer to me, but instead of them turning into a demonic face, it was just a normal person or a bear or whatever it was. It was no longer scary. It no longer had that negative aspect to it. And so that was very promising to me that after such a difficult purge, it made it very rewarding to go into the following ceremonies because they were a little difficult to get over the fear of the pain that was involved. Now, not everybody has a lot of pain or a lot of purging with the medicines. Everybody is different. But like I said, I've been a nurse for 20 years and I've never wanted to ask anyone for any help. And I've got a lot of emotions that have been blocked up for a very long time. So they didn't want to go anywhere. um, one of another ceremony that I had a negative experience going into the ceremony. Prior to, I had a run-in with another participant that was at the lodge that really needed a lot of attention and wanted to voice her own problems. When I made it clear that I was there to work on my problems and I couldn't take on anybody else's, she got very agitated with me, very negative. And anyways, there was a talk that we had to have and just about her playing music and being very angry and aggressive and stomping around the lodge and the community areas. Um, but that night I went into a ceremony and I had a lot of pain in this particular ceremony. And I did everything I could to release it that I thought I could at the time. And I thanked it and said I didn't need it anymore and I released it. And I, at one point, evicted the stuff because it was so awful. It didn't want to go anywhere. But during integration the following day, with the shamans, they had said that you took anger into the ceremony with you. And I was like, no, I didn't. I didn't take any anger in there with me. I was fine. That had happened way earlier in the day. But when I sat down and I really thought about it, I was like, yeah, when I knew she was coming to ceremony, I was a little bit sour in my soul. And so it made sense. And so the medicine knew what I needed to get rid of that day. And I can remember in that ceremony that night, um, there was still some negative energy that was being expressed from her. She was making some vocalizations, especially during times when the shamans were doing healing, energy healing, and work on me. She would make some sort of vocal noise. And there was a shaman that sat right in the middle of the room between us. She was on one side and I was on the other. And anytime she would make an inappropriate vocalization, I would hear this psh, psh, psh. And I thought that it was a swishing with the mouth, but shortly after I would hear that sound, I would then hear the same shaman vomit into a bucket. And it took me a little while to kind of understand what was going on. And I wonder if that wasn't them taking in that negative energy and superseding it, getting to me, and then they had to purge it from their own bodies. And it was not anything, it's taken me weeks to understand that that is what's going on because it's something that's just played in my head over and over. But it just is very amazing. The energies that I experienced in the ceremonies because it wasn't necessarily about the purging or even the visions for me. It was the energies that I felt in my body. There were songs that were sung, and different chants and arcanas that they did. And the The singing creates a frequency and a vibration that was undeniable to my body, and I could feel it moving energy through my body every time. There was a time when on the third ceremony, when I was having so much pain, I even asked my guide, I said, please ask them to stop singing for 5 minutes. I need a break. I physically could not handle any more because the more they saw me struggle, the more intense and the faster they sung. And it, I knew that it was there to help me purge, to help me get rid of that energy, but it was so uncomfortable. And I needed a break, even if it was just 5 minutes. They gave me a five. It wasn't, I swear it wasn't more than 5 minutes, and they started right back up. They did a lot of energy healing. There was also some during one of the very first ceremony. I was laying on my side, and the shamans, there was two different shamans there that time, and they were both singing, harmonized, and they were doing energy work on me, and neither of them touched me, but I could physically feel on my back and on areas of my body that they couldn't have gotten to with their hands if they wanted to. I could feel what felt like physical touch. And it was just part of the energies. It was the very real physical energy healing that was going on in the room. And it is absolutely undeniable to me. There's a lot of people that would question whether or not any of this is real. A lot of people would write it off as this is just the medicine that was, playing tricks on your body and your mind. But it was not. I got home, and before we even got home from the airport, 30-minute drive, my husband's like, man, there's something different about you. Something different about you. And the difference was that my body was no longer in fight or flight. I was, for the first time that I could remember, kind of at peace. I mean, was I still mad at the government? Yeah. Am I still pissed off about our food system? 100%. But I no longer felt like I needed to punch someone in the face when they didn't move fast enough in front of me. And the only thing I can really attribute that to is my body's not in fight or flight. I don't have the blockages that were there previously that were preventing me from processing what I needed to process with whatever trigger happened to be in front of me at the time. So I completely went off of everything that I wrote down to talk about. I hope I remembered everything that I wanted to come up with and talk to you about. But the biggest takeaways that I had were and the things that are undeniable to me that I nobody can really fully understand until they experience it is the energy and the songs and the moving the energy through the body, the overall stillness that you felt following a ceremony. I did have the one ceremony that brought up a ton of emotions, and I continued to feel those emotions all night long and into the next day. And when I was given permission to let those feelings go, and my body kind of came back to homeostasis, it was just a very calm feeling that I can't remember having ever, really. It's not an unmedicated feeling anyways, I guess I should say. So yeah, I would love to answer some questions. I know that um there's a lot more that I can tell about my experiences. Unfortunately, on this platform, we do not have that much time, but I do want to answer any questions that anyone has
So you
and talk
guys,
more about it.
thank you so much, Monica, for sharing for the last 30 minutes with us your story. We have so many questions for you. Zoom. So I unfortunately I don't have the paid version of Pro Zoom. Maybe in the future we can get that. So it's going to kick us off in 2.5 minutes. So how about we take an intermission? And if you guys want to rejoin, I'm going to rejoin the meeting. Okay. And then we'll have a new meeting and we will answer questions in our Q&A. So think about your questions and rejoin us here in about 3 or 4 minutes. We're just going to jump right back on a call, okay, and answer questions. Thank you so much, Monica, for sharing with us. You have so much insight and so much that emotion that was shared. The passion is evident. And thank you again for sharing with us, Monica.
Is the meeting that we log back onto going to be the same link from previously?
I'm gonna try that. If
Okay.
our link doesn't work, so if it expires or for whatever reason, then I'm gonna post it in my post on my page. So
Okay.
we're gonna try to get back in here. And again, I'm sorry for our meeting getting cut short, but we're gonna rejoin. Okay. All right. Thank you so
Sounds good.
much.
All right. Mhm.